All right, we are live and I'm with some of my scholars, and this is a question that came up, and this question was, find the equations with infinitely many solutions. I put up a little option box over here, so when we're talking about the number of possible solutions to an equation, we have three options. We have an option of just one solution, which is what we usually end up with, is what we've been working on. We have a variable remaining, but it's just a variable just as one, and then a constant all alone on the other side. Then we have an option of no solution, and this is a situation where you don't have any more variables left. So they're all gone, and then you're just looking at the numbers. And if the number doesn't equal the number, that's going to create a false statement. And so that's going to be a situation where there is no solution. Conversely, having infinitely many solutions, which is our third option, and that's what this question is about, is when there's no more variables remaining, or if there are variables remaining, that whatever's on the left-hand side of the equation is exactly the same as what's on the right-hand side of the equation, explicitly. Okay? So let's go through some examples on here, and let's talk about whether we're going to have one solution, no solutions, or infinitely many. And the other thing is, let's just try to do this without doing a whole lot of math or algebra in the first place. Let's just look at this side of the equation. So remember, if we were looking for something with one solution, we're going to have the variables remaining with the number on the other side. If I want to get this guy, okay, all the way over here to the left, and I want to collect that, I'm going to add 75x, and I'm going to add 75x. 75x plus 75x is actually 150x. We are going to have variables left over on this problem, regardless of what happens. Even if I subtract 57 here and subtract 57 here, I'm still going to get 150x equals 0. And I can divide 150 by 0, and the answer is just going to be x is equal to 0. But when I got to this point and I knew I was going to have a variable remaining, even if it was going to end up being divided just as 1, this is a really good sign right here that that's an equation with just one solution. So that is not one of our answers, because we're looking for infinitely many, where we have no variables and a number equals a number. Let's look at the second one here. I'm going to get rid of this so we can see this part a little bit better. And this is, so remember our options again. If something is identical on one side of the equation and the other, then it's probably going to be infinitely many solutions. Well, it is if it's this explicit. This is negative 75x plus 57 equals, which means is the same as, negative 75x plus 57. These are exactly the same. It doesn't matter which side of the equation I start to work from or where I want to go from here. They're exactly the same. So this is going to be infinitely many solutions here. I'm going to walk through it real quick.
If I add 75x, I'm left with no variables, and I have 57 equals 57.
Which is exactly what we had over here. We had 3 equals 3, and it's a true statement. That's a true statement. So yes, this is one that's infinitely many solutions. Let's look at this guy. Negative 57x plus 57 equals negative 75x plus 75. Again, it's not identical right off the bat, so we don't know if it's infinitely many solutions. But when we add this 75x over here and add it to this side right here, this is going to give us, what is that, 18? That's going to give us an 18x. So we are going to be left with 18x plus 57 equals 75. That looks exactly, not exactly, but this looks like the regular equations that we do, where we're going to end up with just a variable all by itself as 1, and then just a number. Let's just move on. We're only asking how many are infinitely many solutions. This is going to be something that's only going to have one solution, whether it's a fraction, decimal, anything. So that's not it. And then I've got 57x plus 57 equals negative 75x minus 75. Again, if I add the 75x, add 75x, I'm going to have a whole lot of x's. I'm going to have 132 x's right there. So 132x plus 57 equals negative 75. You don't even have to write the rest of it out. I'm going to have a situation where after I divide by this, I'm going to have 1x and then a number on the other side. So once again, this guy right here is also one solution, but we're looking for infinitely many solutions. So our only option on this one would be B. Mike, did you try that out?
Yes, I got it right.
Okay. So there you are, directly endorsed from Mike. It is B. We were looking for whether we were getting rid of variables, keeping variables, and whether if things were on the same side of the left side as they were on the right side explicitly. All right. We'll be right back after this commercial break.